So the Q&A live stream for Halloween the game just concluded, and I'm gonna go over everything that we learned within this live stream. And I gotta tell you, there's a lot. There's so much that we have to go over. I have a whole notepad worth of stuff to talk about with you guys. If I do miss anything, I will try to insert it wherever I can. I'll say like, hey, post editing do cry or something like that. But as of right now, we've got a lot of stuff to go over. Starting off with the single player stuff. Now, the first couple of things, like the first couple of categories, they didn't really go into all that deep. I think, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory how these things are going to operate. Like, for example, the single player, we obviously know that we're going to be playing it through Michael's eyes. We're going to be going through the events of the very first movie, Halloween 1978. And we also know there's going to be unlockables along the way, like cosmetics or executions or whatever. But one thing we didn't know before is that there is going to be a point system for Halloween game based on how accurate you are to how Michael Myers would play, like, in that situation. So like, if you let somebody live, you're probably gonna get a lower score because, you know, usually Michael never lets anybody go. So that's really cool, and it adds a lot of replayability. You can just keep going back and trying to get the highest possible score that you possibly can. We pretty much know everything that we need to know about the single player thus far. Also, that the citizens, the heroes of Haddonfield, are also going to be included in the single player as well, which is pretty cool. They didn't say if you're gonna like kill them, because like in the multiplayer we're hunting down the heroes, which means that they're still alive after the events at Halloween 1978 or whatever. It's not very clear. And speaking of the heroes, that's the next category that they went over, is the heroes of Haddonfield, which again, they didn't really go too in depth about. We already know everything that we need to know thus far, except for example, the stats. We don't know the stats of any of the characters. I personally made a video going over all the stats I think all the heroes are going to have, but as of right now, they didn't really go too into detail about it. All we know is that we're going to have 12 heroes at launch to play, as well as they will have unique stats and abilities, or not abilities, but traits that make them unique from each other. That's all we really know. But for the heroes, we did get a good look at their cosmetics, all the alternate cosmetics. The first one we saw was from Rachel with her little goth fit. She has the little loops and the nice hair and the the leather vest with the studded belt and like the bell bottom, the black bell bottom pants, which looks pretty nice. Like, honestly, I think Rachel is probably going to be one of the most popular characters in the game, mainly from like an aesthetics point of view. I do think she's probably going to be one of the strongest survivors, just judging by the gameplay that we've seen so far about her. But right now, aesthetically, she looks amazing. And we also got something for Marcus with his little greaser outfit with a leather jacket with like the little hoodie inside, the jeans, the shirt, and also the slicked hair, or not slicked hair, but like a greasy looking hair, and the black boots. They look very, very nice. And we got a cosmetic for our legendary character Annie Brackett with her little pantsless Annie cosmetic with the sweater and all that. It's not sweater, but the blanket. It looks pretty nice. It's so accurate. It looks perfect, honestly. The only thing that's not like completely accurate about Annie is her face. They probably didn't get the likeness of what's her name, Nancy Loomis, I believe her name is. Yeah, they probably didn't get the likeness for her. They didn't want to pay that much money for her likeness, but everything else, it looks amazing, man. And with these cosmetics, they noted that they do want to try to stay within the 70s as much as they possibly can, and this is not even the beginning of it. Like, this is just a tiny little taste of all the cosmetics we're going to be seeing in Halloween the game, which I am very, very excited about. And if they look this good with these characters right off the bat, I can't imagine what they're going to look like for Jennifer or Thomas or Tanya or all the other characters, like Richard, the Dr. Chalice lookalike. They also touched up on customization a little bit. They did say we're going to be able to change our outfits extensively, as well as our like headpieces. Like, we're going to be able to change up our hats, our hair pieces, our makeup, our glasses and stuff like that. It's going to be hella customizable. I am very, very excited. And we also went into the Michael cosmetics, and we got a little bit of a close-up images of the Samhain and Clown cosmetics for Michael. We see the Samhain one, which looks really cool. It's got like that molten lava kind of thing, like Michael just dragged himself out of hell. His hair's all plucked. He's got the nice widow's peak going on. It looks so cool. It gives me kind of like a Savini Jason kind of feel, honestly, which is probably what they were going for with this cosmetic. And we also get a look at the clown cosmetic, which the only gripe I have about this is the fact that Michael's hair is black, which I would assume that his hair would be like blonde-ish. Maybe it was black in the Halloween movie, especially with what's his name? What was his name? Tony Moran. I felt like his hair was like blondish in the movie, but who knows? Maybe I'm just like stupid. Yeah, that's my only gripe about the clown cosmetic, and I really like the touch with like the little shredded up look on the side of it right there, kind of showing that it's being like grown into a little bit, I suppose, but it looks amazing, dude. I nailed it on the head when I was doing my cosmetic wish list, and I'm very happy about that. Moving on to the multiplayer section, and again, they didn't really go too in-depth about this. They spoke about it more from like an aesthetics point of view rather than from an actual mechanics gameplay point of view. They were talking about how people are going to be the drivers of jump scares. They're going to be going around and scaring the hell out of a lot of people. And they also noted how even if you do have like a lot of powers in this game, Michael is probably still going to be able to scare you just by how he works. Like, with Michael being able to like just pop out of random places all over the place, it's going to be terrifying to go up against, especially a good Michael. A good Michael is going to be the scariest motherfucker that has ever played this game. But some cool things they did point out was there are going to be private matches that you can play with your friends. It's going to be 5-player lobbies, and probably there's going to be spectators as well. I don't remember if they said anything about that. You also can have duplicate characters, so if somebody chooses one of your favorite characters, you can still play that character. It doesn't really matter who plays what. You can play, you know, 4 Tanyas, or 4 Marcuses, or 2 Jennifers and 2 Richards or something like that. You can play whoever you want. There's no restrictions to that whatsoever. They also pointed out there is going to be a friends list, which is a godsend. I know from Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the friends list on that game was fucking horrible. It was horrible. Thank God that they actually did make a friends list that you can just like say, my PC friend's on, let me just invite him to a party. And the last thing from the multiplayer section, which I think is going to piss a lot of people off, is the fact that there is not going to be any cross progression in Halloween the game. If you have like an account on a PC and you grind it all the way to max level and you want to go and play on Xbox, you're not going to be able to transfer any of that progress from your PC to your Xbox. You have to just grind it all over again, which is kind of a bummer, but at the same time, I know a lot of people who actually like doing that. Like, for example, Slash and Cast, I know one of their biggest things that they do is they just grind all the way back to max level on, you know, whenever they finish one of their consoles and stuff like that. So I know a lot of people like grinding, I know a lot of people like that kind of stuff, but I know other people really want to be able to transfer their progress to other consoles. Moving on to the maps, and as of right now, there are 3 confirmed maps that we are going to have at launch, and that is the Haddonfield Heights, which is a very medium-sized and also very flat map with not many different houses that have different levels to it. But it has a lot of houses, but it doesn't have a lot of levels to them. You also have the Haddonfield Town Center, which also seems pretty flat, but it has a lot of points of interest. Like, it is a huge goddamn map. And the last one we have is the Orange Grove map, which is the location from the very end of Halloween 1978 with the Tommy and Lindsay house. They noted that these maps are going to vary in level, size, and spacing. Like, some maps are going to have houses with single-story houses or multi-story houses, and there's going to be different sizes to these maps. Like, there's going to be large maps, like, for example, the Haddonfield Town Center with the multiple points of interest, and small maps, possibly like the Orange Grove map, which doesn't look all that big, and spacing as well, which is going to be very important for gameplay, because Michael is going to benefit greatly on maps that have a lot of space in them. Like, there's a part in the Orange Grove map where there's a what's it called, a playground which is very open, so if Michael just wanted to stalk somebody who's like crossing over there, he would get some free ass stalking points, which is pretty interesting how that's all going to play out in the matches that we get on different maps. Also, they pointed out the weather system, which looks so goddamn cool. I don't think there's ever going to be like a snow map in this game, but if there is, it's going to look absolutely beautiful, man. But speaking about the weather is also going to play into the gameplay significantly, mainly with visibility. Like, if you're playing on a dark and rainy map, you're not going to be able to see as far, so you're not going to be able to see Michael stalking you from a distance as well, or maybe even Michael's not going to be able to stalk survivors very well through the thick rain and stuff like that. It's going to be very interesting how that will actually play into the gameplay of Halloween the game. Moving on to the meta game of Halloween the game, which I was very excited for them to talk about, and the first thing they showed off was the profile pictures and banners for Halloween the game, which looks so fucking good, man. I did not expect them to do this whatsoever. This was a huge surprise to probably everybody that was watching. But yeah, the ones I'm probably going to be rocking the most are definitely the Dr. Loomis banner. That's probably going to be my go-to at the launch, and I'll alternate between the clown mask, the pumpkin, the Boo Sheet Myers, and Michael stalking from behind the bed sheets, and maybe even the Loomis pistol as well for my profile picture. I thought it was very funny that they put the flamingo of all things as one of the profile pictures. Oh gosh, dude. If you don't know, there is a flamingo execution in Halloween the game, which is going to be very fun to pull off. But yeah, all these look so awesome, and this might not even be like the half of it. It might be just like a small portion of what we're going to be getting with all these banners. But moving on, they also pointed out that there's going to be a separate character and profile leveling system, unlike Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which was just a profile-based level system, which means if you get to a certain level on your profile, you get unlockables to go for your overall like profile, and if you level up a certain character, you get things for that character, like for example, skins or executions or whatever. And they also pointed out for Michael that the more that you level up Michael, the more weapons you can equip before the match. You don't have to go into the match and like find a pitchfork or an axe or a sledgehammer or anything like that. You can, or not a sledgehammer, but you know what I mean. You can just equip it in the lobby and have it right off the bat, which if you have a preferred weapon that you would like to use every single game, you can just go ahead and do so. For the perk system, they did say that we are going to have perks and we're going to have like a whole perk inventory. It's going to be probably pretty extensive as well, but they noted that the perk system is going to work very much like a deck of cards. So how it will work is basically before the match even starts, you're going to be able to equip a bunch of different perks. Let's say you pick like 10 different perks that you're allowed to equip, and then you put it all into a deck of cards, and you're not allowed to have access to those perks at the very start. You have to level up your character as you go along, and as you level up, you'll level up your deck, and then you can pull a random card from that deck, and that will be your perk for the rest of the match, which I don't know how I personally feel about it, but I do think it's a very interesting way to do it nonetheless. And the last thing that they pointed out for the meta unlocks is the fact there is going to be in-game currency that you can grind for and use to unlock certain things, so you don't actually have to use your hard-earned money to buy certain cosmetics or executions or anything like that. Next up, we have Michael versus the citizens of Haddonfield, which I thought they were going to actually show like hand-to-hand combat with the citizens and how like Michael can deal with like huge herds of people or something like that. But not really. They just showed off all the abilities that Michael has and all the adjustments they made to Michael's abilities ever since PAX East. So a little disappointing, but it's not that big of a deal. It's a lot of the stuff they did show was really cool. Like they showed how they kind of little nerfed the sensibility that Michael has. Instead of like showing the exact location of the people inside the houses and stuff like that, if somebody's in a house, it shows like just the house lights up itself. It's not like the hero themselves within the house is lighting up. They also showed how strong it is to actually lock all the doors and turn on all the lights in the house, because if you do that, Michael's not able to use his shape jump to phase through the doors and windows if they're lit up. He either has to turn off all the lights in the house, or he has to find a little crack that he can slither into and make his way into the house, which I find to be a super smart design on their part. And also, they showed off a new ability that we've not yet seen, but a lot of people did know about, and that is the Shape Slip ability, which is basically a teleport to certain locations. Like you can, if you go into your stalker mode, which is basically like the binoculars mode, if you look at certain locations like closets or dumpsters or maybe even like cars and stuff like that, you can teleport directly into them and bypass getting into the house whatsoever. It is a extremely strong ability, which did say is going to have a very lengthy cooldown. And here we see a little in-depth look to Michael's EMP ability, which we did know about before, and what it does is you let out a big burst and it turns off all electronics within the surrounding area. But what I personally didn't know before is when you use your EMP ability, it shuts any open doors in the proximity. So if you have a survivor who's trying to run out of like an open door, you can just shut it right in their face, which is so fucking cool, man. And they pointed out that this is only a small portion of Michael's kit, which I got super giddy about, because it shows that we might be able to change up our abilities, and there's going to be different things that different versions of Michael, or maybe just the same version of Michael, can do to change up gameplay significantly, which was just such a huge relief, man. And the last thing that they showed for the Michael versus civilian section is these very rare mysterious items that they're going to be across the entire map. And I don't know what they do. I have a feeling I know what some of them do, like for example the lantern. I think the lantern is going to make it so Michael has a much harder time actually getting the jump on you in shape jump. Like usually you can't really get very close to people when you're shape jumping. You have to be like in a certain distance, out of line of sight and out of darkness. But with this, it makes like a big wide range around you where Michael cannot shape jump to you whatsoever. You also have the little the sand timer. I forget exactly what it's called, but maybe that like slows down the match a little bit for heroes, or maybe even like shortens the time a little bit as well. I have no idea. Or maybe it slows down Michael. Maybe it slows down time for Michael for some reason. I don't know. And the amulet, I also don't know. These are really unclear what they actually are going to be able to do. Maybe if you grab a survivor who's wearing the amulet, it burns Michael and it immediately gets you out of their grasp. Maybe that's how it is. Maybe it's just like a better version of like the pocket knife that we have in Halloween the Game. Maybe. And the last thing that we got for this live stream is the little Q&A section they did. They didn't really do a lot of questions. I think they did like, how many questions? 1, 2, I think they did like 7 or 8 questions. Yeah, 7 or 8 questions. My questions did not get answered whatsoever, mainly because all my questions got answered within the actual live stream itself. But the very first question was, is there going to be a Discord server for Halloween the Game? And they did say there is going to be one. There's going to be an official one coming out on July 22nd, so keep your eyes out for that. Another question was is there going to be a roadmap for Halloween the Game? And they said they're not going to share it quite yet, but closer to launch, they are going to be sharing a roadmap for us. They already have like a year worth of content already planned, so I doubt that they don't have a roadmap finished at the very moment. Another person asked, is there going to be a beta for Halloween the Game? Which they said, nope, no beta for us. Another question was asking about continuity and if the skins are gonna like maintain the continuity of Halloween, or are they gonna have fun with the skins? And I think their answer was they're going to be making skins that are as close to the continuity as they possibly can, you know, staying within the 70s and also not being too entirely goofy, but they're also going to have a lot of fun with them. Somebody asked whether the face on the inmate Myers is going to remain blurry, or are we going to actually see Michael's face? And they said that we're not going to be allowed to see Michael's face. It's going to be blurred even when playing the single player and the multiplayer of Halloween the Game, which, you know, I don't really mind all that much. I'm very glad that Spencer from Ice 9 Kills is not going to be the face of Michael Myers. Somebody asked, is this game going to focus more on the casual side or the competitive side? And they said they're going to focus mainly on the casual side, but they're still going to balance the game accordingly. They're not going to keep things in the game that are extremely frustrating for either the hero side or the Myers side. They're not going to keep that in the game. Somebody also asked about bullying, and they did say that it is pretty unavoidable. Like in these games, there's obviously going to be bully squads, but there are going to be certain things in Michael's kit to help him avoid getting bullied all that much. Like for example, the bloodthirst system, where the more you stalk, the more powerful you become, and Michael's not going to be able to get bullied that much because he's going to be doing a lot more damage and he's going to be able to, you know, take a lot more hits and stuff like that. So Michael might be one of the hardest characters in all of ASIMS to actually like go around and bully, besides like, you know, Dead by Daylight. And the last question that they asked was, is Michael going to be able to drive cars in Halloween the Game? And we got this shot right here. But yeah, that is pretty much it. They didn't go over role queue in this Q&A, which I'm pretty upset about. I really want to know whether we're going to be able to choose whatever side we want to play, but it's not gonna hurt my experience all that much. I don't mind playing both sides all that much, so whatever. That's all I got for you guys. I hope to see you in the next one, and I'll see you next time.
God damn you.